Imagine standing at the crossroads of your own mind. Every day you navigate a battlefield where forces pull you in opposite directions, impulses, emotions, and desires that shape your every thought and action. Some of them whisper in the background, unnoticed yet ever present. Others roar like a tempest, demanding your attention, consuming your focus, and dictating your choices. Among these forces, there is one that has shaped civilizations, dictated the fate of great men, and tested even the strongest minds in history. It is the silent architect behind triumphs and downfalls alike. That force is desire. What if I told you that mastering desire is the key to mastering everything else? That those who learn to control it unlock the highest levels of clarity, power, and purpose? This isn't speculation. This is a truth echoed across time by the greatest thinkers, spiritual leaders, and philosophers. And today we will explore why. Desire is both the force that propels us forward and the chain that binds us. It fuels ambition, art, and innovation, yet it also leads to attachment, distraction, and suffering. It has inspired breathtaking creations and devastating wars. It has lifted individuals to greatness and dragged them to ruin. History is filled with stories of those who achieved immense power, yet fell victim to their own unchecked desires. Consider the case of King Solomon, whose wisdom was unparalleled, yet whose indulgences led to his kingdom's downfall. Or Julius Caesar, whose conquests reshaped history, but whose entanglements with desire made him vulnerable. Even Napoleon Bonaparte, a man of unparalleled strategic brilliance, allowed personal passions to weaken his rule. These were men of immense capability, visionaries, conquerors, leaders. Yet, when they lost control over their desires, they lost control over their destiny. Why does this happen? Why is it that even the strongest, the wisest, and the most powerful struggle with desire? The answer lies in its very nature. Unlike hunger, which can be satisfied, or thirst, which has a clear endpoint, desire is limitless. It grows stronger the more it is fed. Left unchecked, it consumes time, energy, and focus, leaving little room for clarity or true fulfillment. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer described desire as a perpetual cycle, an unending chase where satisfaction is always just out of reach. Every fulfilled desire gives birth to new ones, trapping us in a loop of pursuit and fleeting gratification. But here's the key insight. Those who learn to redirect this energy rather than be enslaved by it gain extraordinary clarity, discipline, and creative power. The force that fuels unchecked desire can be transformed into something far greater. Consider Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest minds in history. He famously avoided distractions of indulgence, believing that channeling his energy into his work led to groundbreaking innovations. Or the great Stoics, Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, who taught that true strength lies not in yielding to desire but in mastering it. Marcus Aurelius himself, a Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote extensively about self-control, reminding himself daily that a man ruled by desire is a man ruled by external forces, but a man who conquers desire is unshakable. Now ask yourself this: how much of your potential has been consumed by distractions born from unchecked desires? How many moments have been lost to impulses that offer only temporary pleasure, but leave you with long-term dissatisfaction? More importantly, what if you took back that energy? What if you redirected it towards something truly meaningful, towards creation, wisdom, or mastery? Many believe that mastering desire means suppression, but that is a misunderstanding. The true goal is transformation. It is not about denial, it is about direction. Instead of being controlled by impulses, you become the one who wields them. Instead of chasing temporary highs, you build lasting fulfillment. Every moment of temptation is an opportunity. Every time you choose mastery over indulgence, you grow stronger. And each victory over desire brings you closer to a state of control, clarity, and true inner power. But how does one actually break free from the cycle of indulgence? How do we shift from being controlled by desire to being its master? And most importantly, what happens to those who succeed in this transformation? The answers lie in understanding the psychology, philosophy, and spirituality behind desire. Because if you try to resist it without understanding it, you will always struggle. But once you comprehend the mechanisms that drive it, you gain the ability to master it completely. Desire is deeply wired into our biology. Neuroscience tells us that when we indulge in pleasures, whether material, emotional, or sensory, our brain releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with reward and pleasure. The more we engage in these behaviors, the more our brain craves them, forming a powerful loop of dependency. Modern studies reveal that excessive indulgence, whether in material possessions, relationships, or even distractions like social media, can rewire the brain, diminishing motivation, reducing long-term satisfaction, and weakening willpower. Yet, here lies the secret. The same neurological pathways that drive unchecked desire can be harnessed for higher pursuits. The ancient concept of transmutation, the idea that raw energy can be redirected into something greater, is not just philosophical but scientifically valid. Think of history's most disciplined minds, Leonardo da Vinci, who meticulously avoided distractions to cultivate his genius; Isaac Newton, who devoted his entire life to uncovering the laws of the universe, never allowing himself to be swayed by fleeting indulgences. These individuals understood something most people never do, that the ability to master desire is the ability to master destiny. So how do you achieve this mastery? How do you reclaim control over your mind and direct your energy towards something profound? The first step is awareness. Recognizing how much of your time and focus is consumed by momentary pleasures is the foundation of change. The second step is discipline. This does not mean deprivation, but conscious redirection, choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term gratification. And the third step is transmutation, learning to harness the energy behind desire and channel it into creativity, wisdom, purpose, and self-discovery. But there is still one question left unanswered. What happens when a person truly masters desire? What is the ultimate reward for those who break free from its grip? The answer is more powerful than anything we have discussed so far, and in the next part, we will uncover what lies beyond desire, what awaits those who step into a life of true mastery and purpose. Imagine a force within you, one so powerful that it has shaped the rise and fall of civilizations. A force that can create life, inspire art, drive ambition, yet just as easily consume a person, leaving them enslaved to their own impulses. This force is lust. For centuries, philosophers, mystics, and scientists have studied its power. Some have warned against it, labeling it a dangerous distraction. Others have sought to harness it, believing it to be a source of immense creativity and transformation. But what if I told you that the secret is not in suppressing this energy, but in learning how to transmute it? Today, we explore how the greatest minds in history understood and mastered their sexual energy to achieve the extraordinary. Lust is one of the most primal forces in human nature. It is deeply embedded in our biology, designed to ensure survival and reproduction. But unlike simple physical needs like hunger or thirst, lust is insatiable. The more it is fed, the more it grows. Neuroscience tells us that when we indulge in lustful pleasures, whether through physical intimacy, visual stimulation, or even fantasies, our brain releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. But like any high, it creates a cycle of dependency. The mind begins to crave more, and over time, excess indulgence weakens willpower, drains focus, and dulls creative potential. Yet, History is filled with individuals who understood this force differently. They saw sexual energy not as something to be wasted, but as something to be converted into higher intelligence, creativity, and personal mastery. This idea of redirecting raw sexual energy into something greater is not just philosophical, it is backed by science. The process is known as sexual transmutation, the conscious redirection of sexual desire into other forms of productivity, such as art, intellectual pursuit, or spiritual growth. Nikola Tesla, one of the most brilliant inventors in history, was known to have abstained from physical indulgence, believing that conserving his sexual energy enhanced his mental clarity and innovation. Leonardo da Vinci, the ultimate polymath, was believed to have practiced celibacy, channeling his energy into his artistic and scientific endeavors. Ancient yogis and spiritual practitioners in India and China spoke of ohes, a vital energy cultivated through sexual restraint and transformed into spiritual power. Even Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, dedicated an entire chapter to sexual transmutation, describing it as a secret weapon of successful people. So, what is the mechanism behind this process? How can sexual energy be redirected? Practical steps to master sexual energy. First step, awareness and recognition. The first step is understanding when sexual energy arises. Rather than acting on it impulsively, observe it. Become conscious of how this energy manifests, whether as attraction, desire, or fantasy. Second step, meditation and breath work. In traditions such as Taoism and Kundalini Yoga, practitioners use deep breathing techniques and meditation to circulate sexual energy throughout the body, rather than letting it remain stuck in lower desires. Third step, creative expression. Many of history's greatest artists, poets, and musicians turned sexual frustration into profound works of art. Michelangelo, Beethoven, and even great philosophers like Nietzsche channeled their intensity into masterpieces. Creativity is a powerful outlet for sexual energy. Fourth step, physical transmutation. Exercise, especially strength training and yoga, helps to rechannel sexual energy into physical and mental endurance. Athletes often practice abstinence before major competitions to maximize their focus and power. Fifth step, spiritual practice and higher purpose. Directing sexual energy into a deeper purpose, whether through intellectual work, philanthropy, or self-improvement, creates a sense of fulfillment far beyond the fleeting pleasures of indulgence. Sixth, and the last step, discipline over instant gratification. Modern society is filled with endless distractions, social media, entertainment, and instant pleasures. Those who wish to master their sexual energy must cultivate discipline. Instead of seeking momentary highs, they must train their mind to pursue long-term fulfillment. So, what happens when a person truly masters their sexual energy? They become focused. They become unstoppable. Their mind is no longer clouded by distraction, but sharpened for innovation and creation. Instead of chasing temporary pleasure, they build something lasting, an empire of thought, an artistic legacy, a spiritual awakening. Their presence becomes powerful, magnetic, and filled with purpose. Sexual energy is not the enemy. It is a raw force, and like fire, it can either destroy or illuminate. The choice is yours. Will you let it control you, or will you learn to control it? True power lies not in suppression, but in transformation. This is the path of mastery, and those who walk it change the world. Now I leave you with a question. What could you create, achieve, or become if you learn to harness your deepest energies for something greater?